Hello friends, welcome to Selenium WebDriver training session 9. This is Haradhan once again as usual. Today I will discuss about how we can create our custom Xpath for any web element. This will be the part 1. So I will create another video where I will elaborately mention the different complex technique for creating the Xpath. You already know, I mean seen my previous video, right? Like what are the different element locators available for any browsers? There are name, ID, class name, tag name, link text, parcel link text, CSS selector, Xpath. Like these are the basic 8 different element locator technique available. And what is the syntax for creating the Xpath? Sorry, creating the identifying the element. This is the driver dot find element by dot element locator and a locator value, right? So driver is nothing but the object or instance of the WebDriver. Find element is the WebDriver method already available whenever you are importing the Selenium jar file. So where WebDriver method will be, find element method will be already there in the WebDriver. By is the predefined class in the Selenium, and ID is the right here is the ID already. So this is the element locator or attribute, and is the locator value. So why we use the Xpath, right? In case we are not able to identify any element using the ID, name, class name, tag name, link text, parcel link text, then we will go for the Xpath creation. We will create our own custom Xpath and we will identify the element and we will perform the operation. And CSS also plays an important role. So for CSS, I will create separate sessions. No need to worry. So before that, what is an object repository, right? So whenever you are working for a framework, right? You need to get all the object reference and you need to store into a repository so that as and when we need to use same object, so you can using the reference path you can use it. Even some other tester also you need to they need to use it, right? So instead of creating the new object, so they will use the same reference. So that is the kind of object repository. So an object repository is a unique entity which allows a tester to store all objects that will be used in the test script in one or more centralized location rather than scattered all over the test script, so that other tester can use them as and when required instead of creating a new one. What is Xpath and why we use it? So Xpath is defined as XML path. It is syntax or language for finding any element on the web page, right, using the XML path, right? Extensive markup language. XML is nothing. So Xpath is used to find the location of any element on a web page using the DOM structure. So whenever there is no ID, no class name, right? No, class or name, no link text, parcel link is available. So you can need to create our any suppose value is there, suppose text is there, right? So using the DOM structure, other properties, right? We can create our own Xpath, right? So that is the reason Xpath plays a very pivotal role in any kind of framework, in any kind of tools, right? In EFT, there is already object repository creation technique is already there, so there is no need to worry. But whenever you are dealing with the free tools like the Selenium, so you have to create your own Xpath. And Xpath plays a very pivotal role in any kind of framework, any kind of automation tool, right? Until you are not able to identify the object, right? How you will proceed with the object, or how will proceed with the operation, how will pass the keys, right? Send keys, or how will click on the operation, how will clear this thing, right? It's not possible, right? So in Xpath there is two type of Xpath. One is the relative and one is the absolute Xpath. What is absolute Xpath? Absolute Xpath is nothing but which contains the complete path from the root element to the desired element. It begins with the root path and prefix with the this thing, right? Whenever if you copy this kind of thing, you will get it. I will show you. And relative Xpath is nothing but starting simple by referencing the element you want to navigate from the particular location. It begins with the current location and prefix with like this. Okay, suppose in case it is right text box, so it will be starting with input, right? If it is a link, it will be starting with a, and you can create your own Xpath. Okay, so how to inspect element in a web page? So first you need to open the web page, right, using the URLs. Then you need to press the F12 icons. Then there is inspector icon and you need to mouse over the element, mouse over on the element whatever we want to inspect it, and we can get all the HTML properties, right? So I will create a script using the absolute Xpath first. Okay, so I will show you how we can create a script using the absolute Xpath. So for that, here I have created a class Xpath part1 under the package, right, training. Okay, so you already know whenever you want to initiate some driver, right, you need to pass the provide the properties, right? And here my Xpath, sorry, Chrome driver, I want to open it in the Chrome driver. So Chrome driver, right, that particular Chrome driver is available in my desktop, so I need to give the path for the Chrome driver, right? And what is the initiation webdriver.chrome.driver. Then I need to use the WebDriver, right, interface, and I need to create a driver object or instance and new Chrome driver, right? Then I need to open it, and then I can, right, pass any URL so that it will open. So now here, if you want to pass something, right, in the search box, so how you can pass it using the relative Xpath. So you need to first, how you can get the relative Xpath, you need to press F12 button after opening any URL, right? You can see there is an inspector icon, right? If you mouse over it and if you press it, so it will, right, give you. So how can you get to the absolute Xpath, relative Xpath, this one, absolute Xpath. So if you right click here, okay, if you copy and if you get copy Xpath, so it will give you the, right, absolute Xpath. Okay, so you can see starting with id, and it is traversing one by one, but it is not recommended to use because whenever any reference is getting changed, right, div0, div2, it is getting changed. Suppose this element is getting deleted, particular div is no longer visible, or maybe there is another div already entered, so it will not be possible to identify the object, right? So that will be a challenge. That is the reason we should not use the absolute Xpath. Instead of that, we can create our own Xpath, that is the relative Xpath, with referencing some element. So let's create a code first using the Xpath, absolute Xpath. So I need to give some element, right, enter some data. So driver dot find element. So what this is the syntax, driver dot find element, right? Then by dot Xpath, that is the syntax for Xpath, and you need to pass the Xpath expression here using the double quote. Then you need to send keys, right, dot send keys. Suppose I want to pass the parameter Selenium. Okay, let's run the code and let's see if it is working or not using the absolute relative Xpath. So it will open the Chrome browsers, it will maximize it, it will pass the URL for, right, Google's. Then it will, in the search box, it will try to enter the Selenium word, right? You can see it's working fine, right? So absolute Xpath, relative Xpath is also working fine, but the problem is that in case suppose here, right, some of the DB is getting changed, or there is another DB is getting introduced, so some of the DB is getting deleted. So later point of time when you are running, it will not be recognized, right? The Xpath will not be recognized, so it will fail, right? Okay, suppose that particular DB is getting changed, maybe, okay, another DB getting introduced, okay, so it will never pass your test case. So every time you need to update it. So that is the reason we should not rely completely with the, right, real absolute Xpath. Instead of that, we can create our own Xpath. So for that, how we can, create our Xpath using the basic syntax. So we can, in case already some ID, name, class name is already there, we can create our own Xpath. In case nothing is there, we can create our Xpath using the contents keyword, right? It is used when the value of the any attribute changes dynamically. Okay, so we can use the contents keyword using or an, right? Suppose a particular element has two properties, right, but one property is getting changed, right, and one property, okay, is getting fixed, so we can go ahead with the or. So either one of property is unique, then it will pass. Why we use and? Suppose there is a two text box with the name is same, right, but other property is different, so you can't identify a particular element using any single property. So you need to use the two properties simultaneously, right? So that is the reason we need to use AND, right? So using the true property, we can identify the element uniquely. Okay. Text also, this mechanism is used to locate an element based on the text available on a web page. Similarly, start with and end with. Suppose in case text is also there, but full text is not a fixed component. Suppose text is 2 or 3%, right? And one component is volatile and one component is fixed component. So for the fixed component, we will start, right? In case it is starting component, so we'll go for the start with, and in case it is ending component, we will go for the end with. Okay. So what is the basic syntax for Xpath? Right? You can see that double slash tag name, then attribute name, then value. In case we are not sure about the attribute, then we will give the star mark at the rate attribute name and value. So I will create a custom Xpath for the search button right here. So for the here Google search, I will create a custom Xpath, right? So first copy the HTML part. So here you can see name is there, right? Text is there, right? There is lot of properties is there, right? Class is there. Okay. Suppose if you want to create XPath using the name, so what is the syntax, right? Slash slash tag name. So what is the tag name here? Its tag name is input, right? So I need to give the here. If you go here, if you press Ctrl F, right? Press slash slash, then give the tag name input. Then you need to give the third bracket, right? That is the syntax. Then attribute name. So whatever attribute you are taking, you are taking the attribute as name. Okay. So we will take the attribute as name. So attribute at the rate attribute name is name and the value. Value is Q, right? So here I need to give at the rate attribute comma the value is Q, right? And you need to close it. Okay, it's not working. So you need to give the tag name, right? Tag name is input. Then at the rate attribute equal to value. Sorry, it will not be comma, it will be equal to sign. You can see it's highlighting, right? And one element is found, you can see. Also, if you want to check whether the XPath whatever you have created is fine or not, you just copy the XPath, you go to the console, right? Here you just press dollar sign X first bracket and under double quote you give it and close with first bracket and you press enter. You can see it's using the XPath we are able to find some element, right? And length is 1, that means one element. If you press here, you can find it is, you can see here highlighting it, right? It's highlighting, right? It's highlighting. Okay. So that's why you can create your own XPath. Now replace with, right? Here instead of that, I will replace with our custom XPath, right? And I want to press all. I want to also give the Selenium chain keys, right? Let's run it using your custom XPath. And let's see whether it is working fine or not. You can see it's opening the Google and it is typing the Selenium. So my custom XPath is also working fine, right? Okay. Now, if you want to check with OR and AND, right? So, what is the syntax for OR? You need to give two different attribute using the OR sign. So, I will create the XPath here first using the OR one. So, here already I given the name and also I will given some other thing OR and here other properties is right class. Class is this. I will give the class. Let's see whether it's working fine or not. or what the syntax? Again, you need to give at the rate, then the attribute and value, right? So I'll give again at class and equal to value. Okay, at the rate. Instead of that, if I give the AND operator, okay, AND is working fine. Okay, so let's try with AND first, then I will show you the with the OR. Okay, you can see AND is also working fine. Okay, now here go to the console. Again check whether the whatever custom expression you have created is working fine or not, right? Dollar X, you can see only one element is right, size is one and it is highlighting, right? Now change it with this and using the AND in your code, right? Let's see whether it's running or not. So it is opening the Chrome browsers, right? Then it is passing the URL for Google's, right? Then it will typing the Selenium. So using the AND, right, we can create our custom Xpath. Now I will show you using the OR, right? So for OR, we need to provide the different. Suppose I will provide the first type equal to text. I will create type equal to text or yeah, that particular capital work will not work, so you need to give the small word, right? You can see or is also coming, right? Now let's start with or operators. Whatever express we have created, we just replace it and let's see whether it is working fine or not. Okay, if you run it, you can see it will also run. It is opening the Chrome browser, it is passing the URL for Google's and it is typing, right, the Selenium. So it is also working fine, right? Okay, so using AND or normal using the other parameter, we can create our own Xpath. Let's create an Xpath using class only. Okay, simple class. If you go here and if I give you the class only instead of other operator, you can see also the class will also work, right? You can see it's also work, right? Right. So similarly, whatever properties is there, you can create your own Xpath, right? Suppose if you want to create using title, right? Let's create with titles and let's run it. Title and what is search, right? Because I am now not creating any ID name or class name, right? I am creating using title. So you need to provide the title here, right? You can see it's working. Now let's change with expert whatever I have created here and let's run into it. So using the properties, right? The unique properties, if it is able to identify the expert and we can run it easily. So it is opening my Google page, right? And it's typing Selenium, okay? So now I already showed you that we can create our XPath using ID name class name. Even in case it is not there, we can also create our own XPath using other parameter like text, right? All this thing, and we also create our right using the using or and like that, right? Now I will show you other URL where I can use the contents text start with or end with. And here also if any text is there, type is text. Okay. So I will give you another examples. Suppose let's open that particular one to open. I want to open it ready page, ready login page. After opening it, right? Suppose I want to click on the forgot password link, right? So this is the right. You can see only forgot password u, and u is the tag name, right? And only forgot password is there. So okay, so no other attribute is there, right? So how we can create the Xpath for that? So first open the URL here in the Eclipse also, right? Now I want to create the Xpath using the text. So what is the syntax for text? Text is like you need to give, right? Slash slash then the tag name then text equal to text name, right? That is the syntax. No need to give the at the rate. Okay. So I will create the Xpath here. So here tag name is u, right? U and text. Here I need to give the text and you need to give the complete text. Now you can see it's highlighting, right? Right? And even if you do not know the tag name, suppose you have some confusion, so simply give the star, right? Also, it's you can see it's still highlighting, right? Now let's create the Xpath using this particular properties. Diver dot find element by dot Xpath, and you need to simply give the expression, right? And here it is a link, so you need to click it, right? So it will open that particular ready login page and then it will click on the forgot password link, right? If you run it, you can see it will open the first Chrome browsers, then it will pass the URL for ready login page, then it will click the forgot password link. So it is opening, right? And it is clicking on the forget password link. So you can see forgot your password, that particular URL is getting, right? It is opening, right? Now I will create the XPath, right? Using that particular start with. Okay. So what is the syntax? Start with attribute and value, right? So where you are using start with, suppose you know that forgot pass is fixed and password part is not fixed, it is volatile, it can change any time, right? So you will create your XPath using the start with. So what is the syntax? Just simply you need to type tag name start with. That is the syntax, right? Then you need to give the bracket, you need to give the property. So property will be your text only, right? And here instead of equal sign you need to give the comma, you need to close with first bracket. And you need to complete change the password part. Okay. STA tag name, then starts strta starts with, and I am giving the first bracket at the rate text equal to forgot. So it is not highlighting. Now give the tag name. Just I will simply copy it from here. Starts with attribute name will do text and value will be forgot. So we need to give starts with, we need to give the text and we need to use the first word, right? Whatever it will be fixed component, we need to give it. Okay, so you can see it's highlighting, right? Start with is also highlighting, right? If you also want to create with your Xpath, go to the console. Let's see whether it's highlighting correctly or not, right? You need to give the dollar sign, right? Then X, then first bracket, then under the double quote you need to give it the Xpath, right? If you can see it is highlighting the right one element. Okay, you can see it is highlighting it, right? Forgot password, right? So let's take it, okay, and let's change it here. Okay, so it will work, right? Before that I want to also pass some parameter in the username, right? So how can we highlight create our using the own Xpath, right? So ID is login, so I will create it with ID. Okay, so what is the syntax? Type is input, so I am giving the type as input and I will give the at the rate sign, at the rate ID. I will create the Xpath using the ID, right? At the rate ID and value will be login one, right? So you need to give this equal to sign equal to login. You can see it's highlighting, right? So I want to enter something here before clicking on the forgot password link. So how we can do it? Driver dot find element by dot xpath. You need to give the expressions and then dot send keys, right? Send keys. Suppose I want to send as test 123. Then after entering, it will right click on the forgot password link, right? Let's run it the code. So it will open the Rediff login page and then it will enter test123 in the username field. Then it will test123, it is entering, right? 123, then clicking on the forgot password, right? So it's opening, my code is opening, right? Okay, now I want to create, right, using the end with. So how we can create it? So whenever we need to use with end with, right? Because in case my starting is not fixed, instead of that my ending part is fixed, so I will go with the ending part, right? So here instead of that you will go with ends with, ends, right? Ends with, and you need to give it the password component, right? The end part, not the starting part. Okay, so what is the syntax for ends with? Ends ends with. So using the end with, you also create your own XPath using the end with syntax. Now I will show you how we can create our own XPath using the contents word, right? So for that, suppose I want to highlight this element, right? I want to create the XPath for the password field, right? Okay, using the contents keyword, right? So you can see for the password field, type is password, ID is password, name is password, value is kind of there. So what is the syntax for using the content words? So double slash, then the a name operator, sorry, the right input, it will be input instead of tag name. You can also enter input, right? And then contents word, then pass bracket at the rate, any parameters, right? Any attribute, ID, name, and their corresponding value. You can see it is highlighting only one element, right? So I can create my own XPath using this, right? Contents. Let's run the code. Let's create a code first. Find driver dot find element by dot xpath. Here I need to pass the right using the contents whatever xpath you have created and don't send keys, right? Here I want to pass test kind of stuff. Then after passing it, I want to click it right on the forgot password links. So using the contents also I can create my own XPath. Let's run the code and let's see if it's working fine or not. So it will open the browsers, it will pass the URL for, then you will username also it's giving, and also password also typing and then clicking on the forgot password links, right? So using the normal ID, name, class name, we can create our own XPath. Using the contents word, we can create our own XPath. Using or an and operation, we can create our own XPath. Using text, using start with and using end with, we can create our own XPath. Once the XPath is creation, we can identify the element and we can perform the operation. You can pass some text, right? We can click on the browsers, click on the buttons or click on the link like that. So this all about the simple XPath creation. So for the complex one, I will create another video where I will show how we can create from child to parent, parent to child, right? And other different complex XPath creation. Okay. So thank you all for watching my videos. In case you are enjoying my videos, do not forget to subscribe my channel and like and share my videos. And do not forget to provide your valuable comment for any input or suggestion. Thank you.